Hi Aries, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your May 2021 delivery. Thank you to those of you who liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. And for those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, it's what I call the bridge and the gap spread. And the way it works is the cards on the left side represent your energy toward the connection with your main love interest. Cards on the right side represent their energy toward the connection. We'll take a look at the past energies, present energies, future energies. Once we get through all those, we actually pull some oracle cards with some additional insight. That's where the bridging the gap dynamic comes into play. As far as the decks being used, on the left side we have the Lover's Path Tarot, and on the right side we have the Tarot Sexual Magic. Also keep in mind this is a general reading, so I'm going to be referring to the cards on the left as your energy and the cards on the right as the other person's. If you feel like in your situation it's the other way around, then definitely trust that. Alright, so with all that out of the way, we'll get started. Past energy on your side, we have the Queen of Coins, which is Capricorn energy. The King of Cups, which is Scorpio energy, and the King of Coins, which is Taurus energy. So, a couple ways I could see this playing out here, and one could just be saying that you might have had a heavy focus on your finances, so because of that, you might have just been detaching as far as your emotional feelings toward the connection, and possibly just toward love in general. You just might have had such a singular focus on improving your financial standing that you might not have really been giving much attention to your love lives. And that certainly could have been the case as far as last year. You guys had a ton of energy in your 10th house, so wouldn't surprise me if you had a heavy focus on career back then. But let me see what else. And for some of you, this could just be saying in general that, you might have saw the potential to go the distance with this person, but again, I feel like either way, it looks like there was still a little bit of holding back regarding the actual feelings around the situation. And past energy on their side, we have the King of Swords, which is Aquarius energy, and the Knight of Chalices, which is Pisces energy. So, on one hand, it's interesting to see that you guys have, quite a bit of king energy between the two of you, which is fixed energy. So it could just be saying that you guys might have both been in your own, lanes and not really putting much energy into the connection itself. If that's the case, though, I will say with the Knight of Chalices, it does seem at least a little bit more likely that they might have actually made an approach toward you. Just given the energies I'm seeing here from you guys, it doesn't really look as likely that you were the ones making the approach. But yeah. Looks like it's saying overall that they could have, at least for a while, been pretty detached themselves around the connection. Alright, in the present position on your side, we have Temptation in reverse, which is the equivalent of the Devil in traditional tarot, so more Capricorn energy there. Four of Cups in reverse, which is actually Cancer energy, and Tradition in reverse, which is Taurus energy. So it's interesting again to see the Capricorn energy and the Taurus energy, and then with a cup energy in the middle. The only difference is this time it's changed from Scorpio energy to Cancer energy. But all of these coming up in reverse is interesting as well, because the Devil in reverse I would view as a bit of a good thing, as far as, could just be saying if you had like a really obsessive connection toward the person. This could just be saying that you guys are letting go of that. Four of Cups in reverse is also a positive thing, as far as it's saying that, there was some disappointment where you felt like you just weren't necessarily liking where things were going around your love lives. Whereas in the upright Four of Cups is just saying that you'll stay in that cycle. Seeing it in reverse shows me that you're ready to take some action toward that at least. And with Tradition in reverse, this one's a bit interesting because it could just be saying for me that maybe you're realizing, maybe you had this desire in the past where you saw this, you might have had this hope for stability within the connection, and this could just be saying with Tradition in reverse, you don't have as obsessive of a need to put a label on the connection with this person. So it could just be saying that, the attraction might still be there, but now you might just be like, you know what, let me just ease off putting any labels on it and projecting where it might go in the future and just take it day by day kind of. Alright, in the present position on their side, we have the Chariot, which is Cancer energy, the Knave of Wands, which is the equivalent to the Page of Wands, and the Six of Wands, which is Leo energy. So the Chariot is one card that's usually referred to as a victory card, and so is the Six of Wands. So it's interesting to see those two things there, and then we see the Knave of Wands in the middle. So again, I do feel like this is saying, if anything, looks like this person might be a bit more prone to take action between the two of you. If that's the case, it looks like it'll go over well, and like I said, maybe it's partially, like I said, for some of you, given that we see the Capricorn and Taurus energy twice, could just be saying that now because you're not as focused on finances, you have more energy to put toward your love lives. And then if that's the case, this person making their approach would go over well. Like I said, for others of you too, where you're just lightening up around your, need to put labels on everything and think, oh, where's this going? What's this? What's that? Right? And you're just loosening up a little bit. That could help them feel a bit more able to approach as well. That's what I'm seeing there. And the future position on your side, we have the Princess of Coins. So this is actually the equivalent of the Page of Pentacles. So interesting energy here, because given that you guys had the Queen and the King, to see this come up in the future position could just be saying that there's some backtracking on your part, or at least you're feeling that way. Now, for some of you, I do have to say, especially the trees in the background always stand out to me with this card, because it looks like there's not much life to them. So this could just be saying, for some of you, this is just in general, where maybe in the past you saw a lot more potential in this person and in your connection with them, but now maybe you're viewing it as less likely to actually turn into anything long-term and stable. That's one way I could see it playing out. Let's see if anything else comes to mind with that. Yeah. So, on a more positive end of the spectrum, it could just be the same thing where, like I said, maybe you guys are just taking the approach to take more of a day-by-day approach to the situation as opposed to thinking about where it's going to be in the future. But for others of you, it could actually be that maybe you're slowly coming to the realization that, especially if you had like an obsessive attraction toward this person, you might be like, yeah, you know what, I don't know if this person's really a good fit for me, given that her back is turned to the cards on that side too. All right, future energy on their side, we have the Five of Swords. So this is Aquarius energy again here. And in traditional tarot, the Five of Swords does point to petty conflicts and, engaging in something that that nothing positive is going to come out of it, but just trying to get a cheap victory kind of. But here I will say in this deck in particular, it points more to just taking a risk. So, could just be saying that this is this person that's going to take a risk toward you, maybe putting in more effort in that regard. But I feel like if you do pick up on the energy from them that they're... All right, here's one way I could actually see this playing out. Maybe not for all of you, but looking at this in its totality and seeing the Five of Swords here, it could just be one of those things where maybe you feel like this person only puts in effort when you start to lose interest. You know what I mean? Like, so once you start to detach from the connection. So let me actually look at these cards in the past to make the point. Because what stands out to me is thinking about the King of Swords energy there, followed by the Knight of Chalices. So it could just be one of those things where in the past, if they weren't, if they were detached toward you, and then you actually might have followed suit and detached yourself, and then all of a sudden they come in with that Knight of Chalices energy, right? And then in the present here, we see a bit more of a detachment as far as, like I said, if you had like an obsessive attraction toward this person, you might be losing that. And then all of a sudden they rush back in with more effort, right? And then now that you're kind of back into it, they're like, okay, I'm good. So that could be a dynamic that some of you are picking up on, where it feels like they only put in effort when they feel like there's an actual chance that they're going to lose you. Once they feel like they have you back again, then they kind of go back to doing their own thing and not putting any energy toward the connection. To be fair, if that's a dynamic you are also engaging in too, maybe you're just coming to that realization that both of you guys are kind of approaching it from a toxic kind of angle, and maybe you're coming to that realization as well. But yeah, just wanted to mention that. All right, bottom of the deck on your side. Excuse me, we have the Sacrifice card. So this is actually the equivalent of the Hanged Man in traditional tarot, so Pisces energy. So this could just be saying that this is you guys looking at things from a different perspective, or you could be being called to do so anyway. So I would say, if anything, this might be a good indicator to not make any rash decisions around the connection. If you're suspecting, like, I don't know if this person's playing games or not, keep in mind there will be a Mercury retrograde toward the end of May in your house of communication too. So just be on the lookout for that. There will be that at least potential for some miscommunication there. And the bottom of the deck on their side, we have the Nine of Pentacles. So this is actually Virgo energy here. Usually this represents an energy of being single. And what always stands out to me with this deck in particular is we see he has those scissors. Let's see, there we go. And it looks like he's trying to cut a lock of her hair. So to me, that kind of, the symbolism I get from that is kind of like wanting your freedom, right? But also to take a piece of the other person with you. So for some of you, yeah, I feel like you would already kind of have a feeling that this is the dynamic that this person has. So what I would say, especially like what I mentioned with the retrograde that's coming up toward the end of May, just try to look for a pattern. This would have been something that you already would have experienced in the past. I don't feel like this will be a new pattern that they would be starting with you. So you might just have to backtrack, look at things from the past and see, and start to ask yourself, wait a minute, when I detach, did they all of a sudden start putting in a ton of effort? And then all of a sudden when I'm back in, do they stop putting in the effort and disappear again? So if that's a repetitive pattern you are noticing with this person, that could be what it's pointing to, saying that this is a person that, likes to have their cake and eat it too, basically. So definitely be on the lookout for that. But like I said, keep in mind that would be, I feel like if that's the case, you guys would have already went through that cycle with them a few times, given the energies I'm seeing in the spread. So if this is something that you all of a sudden seem to notice this month, could just be the retrograde energies. Try not to freak out about that. But again, if this is going back months where you've noticed that's been the pattern between the two of you, then there's your confirmation there. But we'll see what the Oracle cards add to the mix. First, we'll look at the Aqua Moonlight deck. I did pre-shuffle this deck, and what we're looking for here is just some jumpers. So first I'll be looking for unspoken messages from you to them, and then from them to you. And if I shuffle for a while without anything coming up, I'll just move on to the next Oracle deck. But sometimes we get additional messages here, which can help. All right, nothing there, so we'll see if we get any from them to you now. Oh, almost had one there. All right, nothing here either. I'll give a few more shuffles though. Oh, actually have one there. So, let's see what it says. Okay, we have fear. It says, I want this so badly, but I'm afraid of getting hurt, so I self-sabotage. Interesting. So, this definitely adds another layer to what we were talking about. So, that's something you would want to consider as well, I guess, if that is their energy. So, like I said, if that is their pattern, right, where they pull away, like they'll put an effort all of a sudden when they feel like they're going to lose you, but then all of a sudden when they feel like they have you, then all of a sudden they're disappearing. Something to keep in mind there, could be self-sabotage. So, I don't know what to tell you about that. I mean, I guess, like I said, if anything, try not to make any rash decisions during the Mercury retrograde cycle. But I don't know what you want to do with that. I don't necessarily see an indicator that this person will get out of that cycle anytime soon. So you might have to be patient with them if that is the cycle that they're engaged in with you. But at least that gives it a slightly, less nefarious twist to it, right? As opposed to like a game playing thing that I was kind of picking up on for some of you. Could just be more of a fear in that regard. But I don't know, kind of like one of those things where you can't do much with that either, though, So we'll see what the Wisdom of the Oracle adds to the mix though. Same situation as far as I pre-shuffled this as well. But here we're just looking for one card and we'll wrap up. Alright, so I'll just put the deck down and we'll pull a card. So give me a few seconds to tune in and we'll pull one. Okay, we'll go toward the bottom and let's see what we got. Alright, we have a leg up. There's the artwork and the number is 34. So let's see what we got. Okay, it says receiving help, delegating authority, interdependence. The Oracle's message. You've come to a point where going it alone is no longer optimal for you. Life has a way of presenting you with the perfect people to align with who can give you a leg up during this next phase of your journey. Help comes to you in all areas of your life where you need a boost. The trick is to accept that aid so freely given. When you embrace interdependence, allowing teamwork and independence to commingle, miracles happen. Now is such a time. So it was interesting as I was reading that message because that definitely made me think of what I was talking about there with the king energies we saw in the past on your side and on their side. So that could be part of the dynamic in a way too, where maybe you guys aren't comfortable receiving anything from someone, So if that's the case, I feel like both of you might be in that boat there where, and that could be what throws the dynamic off, right? Once this person starts, or once you start to give to them, all of a sudden they're disappearing, right? So I don't know. Hope that resonated with you. The relationship message says relationships that are healthy thrive on interdependence. It's important to recognize that you need others as much as they need you. You must allow people to support you just as you were there for them. This is a time to be vulnerable, to speak up about your needs, and to ask for them to be fulfilled. Trust. You will be met with kindness and love. Don't expect others to read your mind, though. Ask and it is given. So, interesting message there. That does take me back to what I was feeling with the King of Cups energy in the past on your side, where, like I was saying, it looks like you were, not necessarily expressing your emotions. So, yeah, I mean, it could just be as simple as that, where neither of you are necessarily too comfortable with giving and receiving. So, that could be part of what it is. But we'll wrap up there. Hopefully that resonated with you guys. I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.